Good morning, class 3. So in our literacy lesson, we are talking about non-fiction these days, isn't it? And what's non-fiction? It's real. It's informative. Any text or any writing which talks about real people, real places, real events is a non-fiction writing or a non-fiction text. So when we read a non-fiction text, we either learn something, or it informs us something, or it explains us something, right? So these days, for last 2 weeks, we are talking about explanation text. Yes or no? A text, a non-fiction writing which explains us, which tells us the process, how and why things happen. So in today's lesson, we will continue talking about explanation text. We'll recall the features of an explanation text, and we will also talk about pictorial flow chart. Alright, so these are the objectives of today's lesson. We will talk about the features of an explanation text, and we will try to understand what is a pictorial flow chart. Alright, so let's start our lesson. So let's start with the features of an explanation text. We know explanation text explains us, it tells us the process of something, as in how or why it has happened. So the first thing is the title. Most of the times, the title of an explanation text is a question mark. It starts with how or why. Okay. Second thing is the opening paragraph. That the opening paragraph is an introduction to what is being explained further. All right. The third thing is chronological order. So things are arranged in order, in proper sequence as they have happened. Chronological order means to arrange things as they have happened. Present tense. We use present tense while writing an explanation text. Cause and effect conjunctions. So whenever you explain something, there's a cause and there's an effect. That's a reason, and then there's a result. So there are two sentences: cause, the sentence which tells the cause, and the sentence which tells the effect. And when we join these two sentences with a word or words, they are known as cause and effect conjunctions. So we use cause and effect conjunctions while writing an explanation text. There are diagrams or illustrations with labels. So the explanation text is also supported by diagrams or pictures, okay, which tells us more about the explanation text. Alright, now we'll try to understand all these text features of an explanation text by reading a text. Okay, so let's try to get an answer to the question, how do bees make honey? This is a jar full of honey, right? And I want to understand, how do bees make honey? So let's read the text which explains us how do bees make honey. Alright? How do bees make honey? Honey is a food made by honeybees. It is sweet and can be used instead of sugar. Bees make honey from the nectar as they suck it from the flowers and take it to their beehive. At the hive, the bees transform the nectar so that it can become honey. The beekeeper collects the honey from the beehives. Honey is used in different recipes, okay? And there's a small diagram as well. So this is an explanation text. Yes? It is explaining you how do bees make honey, right? Okay, now taking this as an example, let's try to understand the text features of an explanation text. So let's look at the title first. This is an explanation text, children, because it is explaining us how do bees make honey, right? So yes, it is an explanation text. Now, the first feature of an explanation text is the title. It says often the title is how or why. Okay, so if you look at the title of this text message, the heading, the title is this. It is a question and it starts with how or why. Let me explain it. Let me underline it for you. All right. So do you understand the first feature, the title? The title of an try to understand the second feature, which is opening paragraph, which is introduction. Okay. Now in this text, what are we going to talk about, or what are we talking about? We are talking how do bees make honey. But what is honey? So in the introduction here, in the opening, the first paragraph talks about the introduction. It tells about honey. What is honey? So honey is a food made by honeybees. It is sweet and can be used instead of sugar. So this is an introduction. It is telling you about this word honey. All right. So do you understand the opening paragraph now? I'll underline it right now. Okay. So this is the opening paragraph. All right. Introduction. All right, children. Okay. Now let's talk about the chronological order, the order in which the things happen. So now let's read further. Bees make honey from the nectar as they suck it from the flowers and take it to their beehives. At the beehive, the bees transform the nectar so that it can become honey. Now, what happened first? The bees suck nectar from the flowers, they take it to the beehive, and there they transform the nectar to become honey and make honey out of it, right? So things are happening in order, in proper sequence. They suck the nectar from the flowers first, take it to the beehive, and then transform it to make honey. Yes or no? Yes. So do you understand chronological order? Chronological order means to arrange in order it happened, okay, in a proper sequence. All right. So let me underline this as well. I'll do it with blue color. I hope you have understood chronological order, children. Yes. Okay, so this is how chronological order works. So we have done 1, 2, 3 text features, and I hope you have understood these text features or these features of an explanation text. Okay, now let's talk about this present tense. If you read this paragraph, the verbs here are in present tense. Let's read it, okay? Honey is a food made up of honeybee. It is sweet and can be used instead of sugar. Bees make honey. Make. See, I'm underlining it with a pencil here. Bees make honey from the nectar as they suck, is again in present tense, from the flowers and take it to their beehives. At the hive, the bees transform the nectar so that it can become honey. Okay, then the beekeeper collects the honey from the beehives. So if you look at the verbs here, these are used in present tense. All right, what's the past tense of make? It's made. Suck, sucked. Transformed, took. Yes or no? So the verbs in an explanation text are used in present tense. Alright, children, I hope it's clear. Alright, now let's talk of cause and effect conjunctions. So I've read it so many times. Can somebody tell me, is there any cause and effect conjunction here? Let me read it again. Honey is a food made by honeybees. It is sweet and can be used instead of sugar. Bees make honey from the nectar. I've written from twice, so let me strike it off. Bees make honey from the nectar as they suck it from flowers and take it to their beehives. Any conjunction here? Bees make honey from nectar as they suck it from flowers and take it to their beehives. At the hive, the bees transform the nectar so that it can become honey. Yes, so that. See, at the hive, the bees transform the nectar. Why do they transform the nectar? So that it becomes honey. So here we have got a cause and effect conjunction here, right? I'm underlining it with a red color. Alright, so we use cause and effect conjunctions as well. We have a cause and effect conjunction here as well. That's as. Bees make honey from the nectar as they suck it from the flowers and take it to their beehives. So this is again a conjunction. Alright, so we use cause and effect conjunctions, children. Alright, okay. Right, so I hope this feature of an explanation text is clear. Now, diagrams and illustration. Of course, an explanation text is always supported by a diagram or picture or an illustration. Okay, this is a bottle of honey, so honey is written here. It's a label diagram. Alright, so do you understand the text, the features of an explanation text now? Yes, good.